shared mass hysteria. That's all that's left. But there are some amazing bargains, I swear to God. Amazing fucking bargains. The other day, I sold a couple a beautiful split-level house in the gay teachers are turning your kids gay area of the national, you know, kind of fear center of the national subconscious. Beautiful house, absolutely lovely neighborhood. I mean, you know, obviously a little bit ugly, but you know, they're gonna beautify it. And there's just so much stuff out there. There's some great TICs in the teenagers are having color-coded lip gloss blowjob parties area. Fucking great houses. You just cannot go wrong. And the best part, parking. You can park anywhere you want in these neighborhoods. Just miles of parking. So much parking. And the commute is great because like with all of the shortcuts they've built from like social panic to business climate, you know, confidence, you can just be downtown in the business district in 15 minutes from like the gay teachers are making your kids gay neighborhood. It's just like zip straight to the business district. They're like practically next door. So, you know, now you're gonna say, is this a bubble? Okay, this is the first thing you're gonna be like, could there be like a fetid, horrible, swollen, distorted bubble of psychic angst in the middle of our national, you know, malaise? And absolutely not, and I'll tell you why. Because they are not making any more mass hysteria. Okay? It's a finite resource. There's not going to be any more of it. It's not like they're going to come up with another scary thing that feminists are doing tomorrow. No, it's finite. They're not making any more. So it's just going to go up and up forever. It's just going to do nothing but appreciate and value. Second of all, you're like, what if I get foreclosed on? I buy a house in like the feminazi neighborhood, and like suddenly, you know, I get foreclosed on and I'm like homeless in the middle of like slut panic town, and like all of my belongings are out on the street, and like all these nightmarish visions from like middle America's subconscious are coming and taking my lamp and my TV set. Don't worry, we're going to teach you how to basically get such great bargains that you won't ever have to worry about losing your home or any of that stuff. We're going to teach you can't lose strategies, okay? For example, you know, find neighborhoods in the collective mass hysteria section of the collective unconscious where, you know, early adopters have already been moving in. Students, you know, queer people, artists, those sorts of people. Ironically, and this is one of those irony things, ironically, the reason why the gay teachers are making your kids' gay neighborhood is so hot right now is because gay people have been moving in. They see a bargain, they're gonna just pretty it right up, and then you can just move in, right on top of them, so to speak. Anyway, that got away from me. So, you know, other things that you worry about, like, okay, permits. We're gonna teach you how to deal with permits. Like, as you might understand, permits in the middle of our collective national nightmare are actually kind of a nightmare, but you know, for example, like, say you want to build a new master bedroom in the middle of, like, the whole, you know, collective hysteria about, you know, white slavery in Minnesota, where people are being dragged to the suburbs of Minneapolis and forced to be, you know, anyway, the whole master bedroom thing may kind of set people off, but there are ways around that. We can, you know, you can work with the code. The inspectors are very reasonable inside of like the collective social panic. There's just like the inspectors, they understand you, okay? They understand where you're coming from. They can make it work. And the thing you have to realize is it's all about cultivating the right mindset. That's what we're going to teach you here tonight, cultivating the right mindset. You, where does a shark build his nest? The answer is a shark builds his nest anywhere he wants to. When a shark starts gathering twigs and branches and human ass bones and sunken pirate ships and whatever else sharks feel like using to build their nests, I don't know. They just build them wherever the fuck. They can build a nest in your swimming pool and you wouldn't say shit about it because it's a shark, right? Okay? So you've got to be the nesting shark, okay? Are you ready to be the nesting shark? Okay, good. So we're going to get some words about that from Kirsten Imani Kasai, who's been with us before. She was here last year trying to tell you about this stuff, and you guys wouldn't listen, so she's back to tell you more. She is the author of a couple of really amazing science fiction novels, Tattoo, and Ice Song. And she's also done some audio plays, and she's going to be reading some of her BDSM poetry tonight. And actually, the way she got into kind of telling stories is that she was working for a long time as like a storyteller for robot head replacement clinics. I don't know if you know this, but when robots get their heads replaced, it's kind of an emotional thing for them. I mean, you know, they tend to dissociate a lot because, you know, a lot of their identity is based on their heads, and then their head's taken away and they dissociate, and getting a robot to reassociate is really hard. There's a lot of dance therapy involved, and it's very complicated, and so you kind of have to calm them down while they're having their heads replaced. And the main way you do that is by telling them stories, which is what Kirsten was so good at. And robots like stories that are sort of about, you know, kind of magical stuff like enchanted forests, and, you know, magical weird machines made out of brass, like with lots of little cogs. They like that. They have a thing for brass machines with lots of little cogs. Robots, I don't know. And birds. They love stories about birds because birds are really small and delicate and have lots of little moving parts. And the robots like to pretend or maybe imagine that they have lots of little birds inside of them that will fly away if their head is removed. And so you have to kind of tell a bird story to the robots to get the birds inside of them to stay. It's like, you know, it's like a security blanket or whatever. Anyway, so she was really good at telling stories about birds and, like, you know, their adventures that they would go on in forests and, like, these whole, like, beautiful fantasy stories that the robots really loved. And, you know, the only problem is that robots kind of started to fetishize and get excited about her head replacement stories. And, you know, they would just come from miles around to hear it. And even if they weren't damaged, the robots would start finding excuses to damage their heads. Just so that they could come and hear one of Kirsten's stories. And you can imagine that would be very dangerous, because to people, for example, if robots decide that they're going to just randomly damage their heads, you know, they may not think about who else is around at the time. And anyway, so basically in a nutshell, Kirsten ended up figuring out a way around this, which was to duplicate herself into like millions of tiny, you know, robot instantiations of herself, which fly around telling bird stories to robots all the time, so that they can feel kind of happy and secure in their ordinary lives. And there's just one slight problem with that, which is that all the millions of tiny little robot duplicates of Kirsten only want to hear bird stories from her directly. Because they tend to go out and repeat them, and then they all get just changed around, and there's millions of different versions, and like there's a whole canon of different versions and variant texts of all the bird stories. And so when you see Kirsten, you'll see that there's like a tiny cloud of like millions of these little robot versions of her kind of following behind her, because they're all just like desperately eager to hear whatever she might have to share with us. So, you know, don't mind the cloud. They won't harm you unless they see you trying to damage your own head, which please don't do that in here because it's a fire code thing. And please welcome the amazing Kirsten Imani Kasai.